Hey guys, Rich Nance with Guns and Ammo. We're at the Meprolight USA booth here at SHOT Show, and I'm with Jonathan. And Jonathan, we have some exciting new products to talk about. First is the Mepro Foresight, and before we get too deep in the woods, we should mention that you can enter to win that by going on Facebook to the Meprolight USA website, comment SHOT Show, and follow Meprolight USA, and you'll be entered to win this Foresight, which Jonathan's going to tell you all about.
Okay, so the Mepro Foresight is the first augmented reality sight that is on the market, and it is it has an overlay which allows you to take the red dot sight and bring it into the next century. So there's a tremendous amount of functionality that we're going to go into. We won't go too in depth, but again, there's a lot. It's basically like sitting in the cockpit of an F-16 and getting that heads-up display. So if you take a look and you see the display up there, what you're seeing is the reticle, and the reticle is we have 5 that are on board, but we have about 20 that you can choose from. You can choose which ones you want to go, and you can also create different profiles, and that's one of the big features of it. So everything is controlled by an app, and it's all on Bluetooth. The connectivity between the Bluetooth also allows firmware upgrades to come. So here I've selected. I've got connection to the unit that's here. I can do my first profile. So if I open it up, I'll add a new one here, and I can choose an avatar for it. And once I do that, I can add whatever information that I want. We can choose the reticles. As I mentioned, there's about 20 onboard ones. I can select whichever ones I want to go for this particular profile, and then I can also zero it. This particular function allows me to zero directly from the app, which is a pretty neat feature. So you're not using a coin or the base of a cartridge in order to change it directly on it. Although, if you want to use the onboard menus on the device itself, which you see over here, we've got onboard menus, and we've got key features that allow you to do that. So we mentioned the onboard zeroing, and I'll show you a little bit more about how we've taken some 21st technology and put it into it. I mentioned the different profiles. We have the ability to do 10 different ones. If you want, you can do 10 different weapons. You can mount each one on each individually, choose which reticles you want. You can choose what settings you have, and you will then be able to re-zero it just by bringing it back to the weapon. It holds the zero. Or if you want to take one weapon and you want to put 10 different profiles on it, you can do that as well, because you may want to have different distances. You may want to zero at 25 yards, 300 yards. You may want to perhaps do suppressed versus unsuppressed. You may want to do different bullet weights. You may want to do supersonic versus subsonic, and you can do 10 different profiles on the same weapon as well.
That's awesome. Hey, just again, Meprolight USA Facebook page, comment SHOT Show, and follow Meprolight USA, and you will have your chance to win this Foresight.
So we talked about some of the features, the ability to have 10 different profiles, the fact that it is Bluetooth compatible and it works directly with your cell phone with the app. Whenever there's an update, you don't have to pay for that update. It comes in and it brings it. So one of the updates that's coming is a shot counter, and so we'll take a look at the display because it's a little bit better to see. If you set it in such a way, you can put the number of rounds that you have in your mag, and it will actually count down and tell you how many rounds you have left in your mag. It'll also do cumulative, so if you want to keep track of how many rounds you are shooting until you do a depot level maintenance, that's fine as well. So there's going to be other functionalities that are coming down the road, but as those come in, will be user-defined in terms of if you don't want to use it, you can shut it off. That's coming in the next upgrade, which happens in February as well. So let's move on, because we're talking about that ability to auto-zero, and that's in conjunction with the double shoot application. So let me just grab my phone, because we do have an app. The double shoot is an app, and I'm going to open that up right now. And what this allows you to do is to take the target, you print the target, and you fire on that target. You put 4 rounds on it, you take a picture utilizing the app, and when you do that, it will actually then allow you to move the zero automatically. It does it for you. You don't have to do any changes. It works with our other optics as well, this particular application. So if you, for instance, get one of our RDS optics or the M21, it will tell you how many clicks to move to the left, up, in order to bring it on. But the way we have it set up, and it is packaged with the Mepro Foresight, so when you buy the Foresight, you get a year's worth of the application included in it as well, and it allows you to have that auto-zeroing feature. It's fantastic. In 4 rounds, you can, instead of using a box of ammo, because I don't know how many times I've been trying to get something on paper, you move it a little bit, you move it a little bit, you move it a little bit.
Changing distances.
So in 4 rounds, you can move it so that it is zeroed, and it holds. It's a fantastic application. So, moving on, we'll move to our next product, which is the HVS. It's our high visibility sight. We came to the market because we wanted to perfect it and have something that was really a little bit different from everything else that's out there. Now, our bread and butter, and what we're known for, is the self-illuminated night sights, and people have been experiencing them. Both they bought them on an aftermarket basis, or they bought perhaps a Glock or a SIG or an H&K that came with it on an OEM basis. They're familiar with our green dots, the fact that we've got a white outline. Ours is a little bit different here for the HVS. And if you take a kind of a look here, you'll notice, first of all, that the rear sight, there's a little bit of it's a rounded cutout. And we don't have that white outline because we want to draw your attention to that bright front sight. And it's brighter than everything else that's out there. It also has tritium illumination, both front and rear. We've got green, we've got yellow, we've got orange. And it is extremely visible, very quick to pick up, very easy to acquire. It's good for a new shooter as well as for an experienced shooter as well. That being said, let's move on over to the RDS. Now, I'm sorry, our Micro RDS. Micro RDS is our red dot sight that is designed, it's a reflex sight designed to be mounted on a handgun. It can also be mounted on a long gun as well. We have a Picatinny rail adapter, but it was designed initially as a handgun. Now, what is unusual about this is you don't have to mill your slide in order to put a reflex sight on it.
And that's what prevents a lot of people from going to that site anyways, because they don't want to have their slide milled.
Absolutely. So you have to take an existing handgun, bring it to a machinist. Maybe he's done it before, maybe he hasn't, maybe he knows what he's doing, maybe he doesn't, and they mill it out, and hopefully he's going to do it right. Here, all we're doing is replacing that rear sight, and what it does is it gives us an integral rail. This notch here actually allows us to align it in the same way every time, so when I remount it, it's going to hold at 0, and I've tested this and it works very, very well. So we've got backup night sights. This particular model, it fell off. That's what happens at a show, but we've got front and rear backup night sights, and you can see how nice that looks, and it's extremely robust. The sight itself is extremely robust. We've tested pretty heavily. It holds 0 and very easy with that quick detach, which is unusual for this type of sight. The battery does replace from the top, so you don't have to remove it from the firearm in order to change the battery. But if you wanted to, for whatever reason, the battery ran out, you don't have a replacement, you wanted to take it off, you've got the ability to use those backup sights.
That's awesome.
So these are some of the great products. Got one more that I want to show you. And this is our FT Bullseye. People are becoming familiar with the FT Bullseye because it came on it's part of the SIG P365 SAS. So we do provide the sight bodies, and SIG does attach it in their firearm. And but we initially started, we've got about 20 different platforms that it fits with. It's got fiber optics and it's got tritium, and the way it works, see if you can get a good look at it, it's a rear sight only. There's no front sight involved. If you want to leave the front sight on, it doesn't matter, it's occluded, so it'll just hang out and do its own thing. But we've got a dot with a circle around it, and when you see that bullseye, it's on target, it's aligned, and it's mechanically aligned with the bore, and it will hit at combat distance, and it's extremely easy to acquire, and
super bright.
Super bright.
Another thing too is some people, when they get their arms extended, have a hard time seeing the front sight clearly. This helps with that as well.
Absolutely.
And you know, P365 SAS, I think the slide is milled, right? So that's even lower
Correct,
profile, but
correct.
it's not that high even on a regular pistol in the rear notch. So.
No, it's low profile. There's very few holsters that it will interfere with, and it's more if there's a retention issue where some of the level 3s. But again, the vast majority of holsters that we've tested, because it is so low profile, it fits very nicely and very quick to acquire. Very easy. There's a little bit of a learning curve because if you've been shooting for a long time and you are looking for that front sight, you got to kind of adjust to the fact that it's the rear sight only. But we've got some other changes and other products coming down the road that I'm not at liberty to talk about, but there are some exciting times ahead for Meprolight.
Very cool, and people should go to the Meprolight USA website.
Absolutely.
And again, follow and enter SHOT Show and for your chance to win the Meprolight Foresight. But if they're not fortunate enough to win, where do they go to purchase this stuff? Just Meprolight USA?
So we're not selling directly on Meprolight USA. What you should do is contact our online partners. So we work with Midway, Brownells, Optics Planet. They're carrying our full line. If you run into trouble, you can contact me directly. But again, I prefer if you go to our online partners. My email address is jonathang@meprolight.us. So I am happy to help out anyone. Again, if you're unable to find it, also at your local retailer. That's my first preference. If you can't get it online, go to your local retailer and say, "Hey, do you have Meprolight sights? Hey, I saw the FD Bullseye. It's an awesome sight. Do you carry it? Oh, you're not a Meprolight dealer? Well, make some calls. Make it happen." So I'm in love with the product line. I'm extremely passionate about it, and I hope some of that rubs off and spreads across the Facebook world so you can see how good the products truly are.
Awesome, Jonathan. Be sure and check out the Meprolight USA booth and also check them out online. Some very innovative new products.
You're a shooter, right?